Good afternoon, I'm Daisy Herman here with the latest Salford Now news. Salford is to be put under Tier 3 restrictions from Friday, despite leaders having failed to reach an agreement with the government. Local leaders were pushing for the government to provide millions to support jobs and welfare, which Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham said was essential, but no agreement was reached. Jessie Sale has the latest.
Talks have ended with no agreement on Greater Manchester's future lockdown rules. Therefore, we are expecting Tier 3 restrictions to be put in place, which would mean the banning of more than one household from mixing in any indoor settings as well as private gardens. But those not living together can meet in local parks as long as they are following the rule of 6 and social distancing occurs. Pubs that do not serve substantial meals will need to shut alongside betting shops, soft play areas and bingo halls. Greater Manchester leaders have been negotiating for 11 days about some financial support for those struggling under restrictions. Demands were not met. We do not know exactly how much we will get, but the Prime Minister's 5 o'clock statement should reveal more information.
An hour ago, Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham held a press conference where he told reporters that he is still willing to speak to the government.
Even now, I am still willing to do a deal, but it cannot be on the terms that the government offered today, because on those terms I could not meet the commitments I made to people on the lowest incomes, to people who are self-employed, to the freelancers in this city who need our support. I could not do it on those terms.
A group of Salford veterans have been left heartbroken that they will not be able to enjoy the annual Christmas meal together, but instead they are trying to raise money to make hampers to make sure that those who are isolating don't miss out. Olivia Mukherjee has more.
These Salford veterans have seen conflict firsthand, but nothing quite like the coronavirus. For many of these members, the Breakfast Club was a safe haven and only form of contact with their friends.
I missed it, to tell you the truth, because you come, you see all your old mates. Yeah. Well, I live on my own, you see. I lost a wife 3 years ago, and it's been hard.
Pretty awful because I'm on my own, so I hardly see anyone. Yeah. Luckily I've still got a car so I get about a bit, but I miss meeting people and chatting.
Anything to get out of the house, because I'm living on my own and I don't like it.
The main problem is loneliness. Jack there doesn't see another person all week from one Saturday to another. It's very sad. Most of them have lost their wives for one reason or another, bereavement or separation.
The big Christmas meal was supposed to be the highlight of their year, but unfortunately plans have now changed due to local COVID restrictions.
It's heartbreaking. If you just seen, last year we had the Oldham Scottish Pipe Band who actually came down and they did a good half hour, 3/4 of an hour before they sat down and had the meal. And the looks on the faces on some of the older veterans was absolutely magic. There were tears of joy on some of them, and yeah, it pulled on my heartstrings anyway. They look forward to it more than anything else. They look forward to it because they get to see each other. You see some that only come once or twice a year, and it's good to see them out as well. And it's a shame that we're not actually going to get that this year.
Claire and other volunteers at the club are now fundraising to make 25 hampers for veterans who are isolating.
We just want to make sure that they've got something there on Christmas to at least, so they haven't got the worry of not being able to go out shopping or trying to put that stress onto somebody else bringing it in, if that makes sense.
The Breakfast Club has not been able to meet over the past few months due to the nationwide lockdown, and from speaking to everyone here today, it is clear that it has been greatly missed, and the hampers that will be produced over Christmas will be very much appreciated. Organisers of the club tried to restart the breakfast events a few weeks ago, but have found it hard with the new restrictions.
One of the problems we had, we started up when we were allowed to, but they didn't like the restriction. You can't mix when you've got 6 feet apart with masks on, and they just refused to come under those circumstances, and I understand that. It was completely defeating the object of the morning. As I walked through the door, I knew it was going to be a really wonderful place to meet veterans, or for them to meet and talk. Yeah. They're very proud, independent people, and civilians wouldn't understand their conversation, their banter.
The club are now planning a socially distanced meal at the local pub, the Barton Arms, with a smaller group of veterans. An event they hope will bring some Christmas cheer to a rather uncertain year.
And I think we've done a lot of good in Salford. We could do a lot more.
In the middle of a pandemic, it's never been more important to keep smiling. A children's entertainer from Salford is clowning around on Zoom to keep families laughing. Our reporter, Florence Phelan, has more.
Clowning around but at a distance, children's performer Luby Lou has taken her business online to provide laughs and giggles.
Roger said 1990. Pyjama, pyjama. Will you stop saying pyjama, pyjama?
Luby Lou has been working as a children's entertainer for 22 years, but when asked if she could do an online party, she was found shaking in her oversized shoes.
A family who I'd done loads of parties for years and years. I'd just come back from holiday, be honest, and she just said, could you do a Zoom party for her daughter? Oh, yeah, panic mode, did a Zoom, come off, and I was like, oh my word, that was horrendous, because even though they thought it was brilliant, and it was good, but I've been used to having children eating out of the palm of my hand, and I always throw myself into anything, because I just think you can get yourself out of any situation what you're in using your professionalism.
She has found a creative way to keep on clowning around, but at a safe distance, with her giggles on wheels.
It was already a service what I kind of tried to get off the ground before this, all because I delivered a cucumber to somebody's house. And as a get well present, somebody went, will you go and deliver a cucumber? I was like, yeah. So I started it before this, but it didn't really take off because everybody wanted the big party, didn't they? But honestly, it is the best thing. So I've had my van redesigned, music in it, and I literally turn up for 15 minutes with my saxophone, Roger the Rabbit, and we connect.
And though the cliche is to always run away with the circus, Luby wishes to settle down and start a community hub.
Got this goal, a dream of a Luby Lou lounge, because I've been doing it for so long, and my dad was in the business, and it's hard work every weekend, and I don't really like travelling anymore. So I've got a vision and a dream to have a Luby Lou lounge where people come to me and have the part, but it wouldn't be me in that full costume all the time. It would just be Luby Lou's magic, what I've learned over the years, to create that nice family party.
Let's hope when the pandemic is over, we can still run away with the circus.
Hey, yeah! Woohoo!
The benefits of keeping your hands busy can be mental as well as physical, so a crafty group from Salford are taking their classes online. Despite worrying that online classes won't be attended, organisers say they've managed to keep the community together. Gemma Godson got out a needle thread and joined them.
Have you tried your hand at a new craft during lockdown? No? Well, neither had I until I took part in one of Salford Community Leisure's craft socials.
Get it in there nice and tight. If you pull it around the edge, just helps tighten it a bit more.
The classes are normally run inside Salford Museum and Art Gallery, but this mini embroidery class was the second of its kind, organised to continue uniting the crafting community.
So what I was worried about is whether we do it virtually, if people won't turn up, or the same people won't turn up. And it's like, yeah, we're getting people coming along, but it's not necessarily keeping in contact, because it's a social, it's about the craft as much as it is about having a chat with everybody else there. And what has been really nice is that the people who regularly turned up have started coming to the virtual ones as well. So we are keeping that community together until we get to a point where we can all come back into the museum.
After signing up online for £8, budding crafters received a package through the door with everything they needed to take part, as they were later conference call guided through the basics with Crafter in Command Caroline Coates.
So, holding that nice and tight, wrapping around and making sure it doesn't go loose.
The impact on people's well-being during the pandemic has been substantial, with more than 2/3 of adults feeling somewhat worried about the effect COVID-19 is having on their life. However, engaging with visual arts can reduce anxiety and improve mood.
I think the pandemic has actually been a really good advert for craft.
Yeah.
like, just from my own point of view, you know, there was at one point during lockdown where you had to wait like several weeks to get anything ordered from Hobbycraft because there was such a backlog. Like, literally the whole country went, right, what am I going to do? Going to get involved, going to learn a new craft. So in some ways, you know, the argument for craft as a mental health thing has been made.
If you want to get involved in the next craft social, follow at Salford Museum on Twitter. Gemma Gosden reports.
Today, the latest on the coronavirus in Salford, including the Prime Minister's speech, please head to salfordnow.co.uk. Bye.